Welcome, my name is Erica Walter, coming to you from Foothills, Alberta. In this series, AI Ability, I'm going to dive into some AI tools for beginners, how they have helped me, and possibly how they can help you. In this second episode, I'm going to walk you through some quick and mostly free AI options. These can improve your resume and LinkedIn profile with a minimal amount of time. At least that is the goal for today. We will explore using AI to write a stronger LinkedIn resume, and we'll also create a better resume in general. And then later in the next episode, we're going to explore a few more options for a headshot that's a great placeholder until you can actually go and do a photo shoot. These tools can help anyone optimize their LinkedIn page, update their resumes, and their other online profiles, because a lot of what we're going to do today can be used across your profiles online. And while these AI headshots will not be the magic bullet for everyone in every industry, they did generate some surprisingly decent options for a small profile picture, which is what you would use on LinkedIn and also a lot of your other socials. I thought that these were photorealistic enough to be worthwhile for the short term, especially if you plan to do a photo shoot later on. I'm going to test out some options on myself, and then you can decide if these tools are worth your time. I think they're pretty good, but results may vary. Revising your LinkedIn page and your resume isn't usually considered a fun task. I have definitely been putting mine off. So let's use AI to help us. For LinkedIn, I have found that good profiles usually have 4, sometimes 5 things that really make them stand out. First, you're going to want a really compelling headline, something that's catchy and rather brief, probably not longer than a sentence. Second, you're going to want an appealing about section. I think that this used to be called the summary section. Basically, this section should highlight your professional background in a professional and preferably friendly tone. Next, you're going to want a concise look at your work experience and your educational background. And you'll want a profile picture that's professional. And lastly, as a bonus, a custom cover photo that brings in some elements from your profession. One section I'm not going to cover here is your personal engagement on LinkedIn. If you post regularly and interact with other people's content, you will get a larger LinkedIn following. It's up to you if that's important or not, or if you just want your online presence to look as professional as possible, especially if you're on the search for a job. So, our first step is going to be to analyze your LinkedIn profile using AI. For this, the two tools that I'm going to use are Taplio and ChatGPT. Step 2 is going to be writing a compelling headline and the About section. Here, ChatGPT or Claude free versions work really well, and I'll show you some great prompts to help you get results. As an alternative, you can use an AI writer like WriteSeed AI, or even use its LinkedIn bio writer template. The third step is going to be writing descriptions for work experience and education. After outlining these yourself, go to an AI chatbot and ask them to fill out these sections with really specific prompts. Step 4 is going to be editing a photo or using an AI headshot generator for a professional looking headshot. For this, I'm going to show you a couple different options: Dreamwave AI and the Multiverse AI. I really found the generated images better for a professional looking headshot coming from these two generators. The fifth step is going to be using AI to use a custom design, a profile background image. We're going to do this by asking AI to generate ideas for images for the background photo for your new LinkedIn profile. Then you're going to use these prompts in an image generator and see what AI comes up with. So first, let's have our LinkedIn profile analyzed and rated by an AI tool and see what it generates. For this, I'm going to use Taplio's LinkedIn Optimizer. Not all of Taplio's tools are free, but this one is. I like it because it's not just free, but it has really good reviews and adheres to best practices. There are other LinkedIn options out there, so if you really don't like the results from this one, it's totally okay. You can go find another option, or you can enter prompts into ChatGPT or another chatbot to improve each resume section. It's also really helpful to check out some of LinkedIn's other accounts that are in your field for inspiration to see how they set up their profiles. This really helps if you're running into blocks setting up your own. I found it also really useful to keep a Word document open to jot down different elements that I want to add to my resume, and also to keep a file of the responses that AI gives to me. This helps so that I can hone the responses into really relevant points later on or when I do a final polish of my resume. So for the first step, we're going to go to taplio.com/LinkedIn-profile-optimization. Let's go to Taplio and we can enter my LinkedIn as a guinea pig. So this is the website that you're going to want right up here. So up here, we go to Taplio right here. So we're going to enter in your LinkedIn. So we'll use mine as a guinea pig here. We're going to copy this and paste. So this takes a couple seconds to generate. And then it gives a little bit of a summary. So you can scroll through this and see what it gives you. The results here for me are, well, they look okay. And the summary section actually is pretty great, but it's a little bit generalized. And the reason for that is because I have not updated my LinkedIn in quite a long time, probably a couple years. All right, now this is the part where we're going to interact with AI to improve our headline and about sections, and then our work and experience sections. Later on, we'll come back to Taplio. That way we can compare the LinkedIn page before and after using AI to improve it. I should take a second to mention here, I'm going to copy the prompts I used today and put them in a free download from my socials. You're going to be able to find them on my Instagram at East Village Voice Studio, all one word. So just go to the link in bio and look for the free download if you'd like to check out these prompts. Now we're going to open up ChatGPT and ask it a couple questions. So we're going to go over here, and in this chat, that's where you're going to want to start to write. So the prompt that we're going to give it is pretend to be a LinkedIn profile strategist and write you the best prompt that it can for improving your profile to attract employers and colleagues. So I'm going to take that and copy it and paste it right in here. So it gets quite a bit of information, and you're going to get a similar sort of response back whether you're using ChatGPT or Claude. You can also just steal this prompt if you'd rather. So it goes into, as a LinkedIn profile strategist, ChatGPT can help you create a compelling LinkedIn profile. Then it asks you all of these questions. So it wants you to provide more information so it can really give you a great response. What I did here is I started to put in answers to these questions, but not everything that it's asking for. So don't feel bad if you can't fill out all of the sections. So here's where it's asking you some questions. What information does the LinkedIn profile strategist need? How does providing specific achievements and projects help enhancing it? So these sort of things you can use to make it a little bit more specific. All right, so I'm going to put this prompt in, and then I'm going to tell them a little bit about myself and re-enter the prompt. Now it's sort of giving more of an expanded response. And so it wants more information about your skills, anything specific to things that would attract potential employers. So read through these and answer them to the best of your ability, because the more information you can give it, it will help. So what I did is they wanted some more information, current job title, career goals and aspirations, and things like that. So I re-entered the first part of the prompt, but then with a little bit more information about me. So this can be your about section. And if you don't have that filled out on your LinkedIn, you can go back to Taplio and you can pull it out of the about section there or the summary. That's sort of a nice little blurb that you can then drop into ChatGPT or whichever chatbot you're using after you put in the prompt asking it to be a LinkedIn profile strategist. So we're going to send that to ChatGPT and see what the response is. Now you're getting a little bit more of a response. And if you don't like that response, you can just ask it, please give 5 more versions of this response. Now, this is where it's really helpful to have the Word doc, because what I did is I took these and I dropped them into a Word document. So I had different about sections that it did and different headlines. And you can go back, and this is a little bit of a cheat, but you can ask it using the same prompt, generate a LinkedIn headline. Give 5 variations. So when it gets to that point, I took these 5 from it. And then I edited later on the one that I liked out of them. These are the about sections that we got before, and I just took different variations and dropped them in the Word document. You can do that too, and it's going to simplify your editing time later on. If you didn't like what you got back from ChatGPT, you can always try another chatbot or an AI writer. If you didn't think that the content that you got back was, broad enough or you want more, try a little bit longer of a prompt. Right now, we're going to use this one, and this is in that download from my socials if you want it. You're an expert in crafting compelling and professional LinkedIn profile summaries. Your task is to critique and enhance the user's existing LinkedIn About section. So this goes through what kind of tone and how much of results that you would like. So really concise, relevant responses without extensive questions. But we are going to have the chatbot ask you some questions about your experience. And then you're going to drop in at the end of the prompt, you want to write something like, using this information, write me 5 about sections, and then put in that little about section that you got from either your LinkedIn profile, which is here, or Taplio. So either one of those you can just copy and paste right into this prompt, and then it's going to generate some different versions for you. First, it does sort of an analysis of your profile and things that you can improve. Then it gives you some versions for your about. And what I did is I took what I got and what I liked, and again, I saved it onto my Word document so I can edit things later. Now, the third thing that we're going to work on is education and work. And for these prompts, you're going to give the AI a role again. So before we were saying to Claude that we wanted Claude to act like an expert in crafting compelling and professional LinkedIn profiles. Now we're going to give it a role again. And that role is going to be as a professional detective. This is to try to encourage the AI to get the most information out of you. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this prompt. We're going to say, using the same about section above, Using the same about section above, you're a professional detective, give me, basically we're asking it here to give us information about our educational qualifications and then go on to the work experiences. So first it's going to ask you questions about your education. And here they want the institution, the years, um, other courses that you've taken, and any specialized courses or awards that you've gotten. This brings us to the third step. This is where we write descriptions for work experience and education. For getting the basics written down for these two sections, I am sorry, but there isn't an AI tool that can help you. You're going to need to go into as much detail as possible about your own work and educational experiences so that people who land on your LinkedIn profile can get a clear picture of your professional and academic background. AI doesn't have any way to access this information, so this is up to you to compile and put together as well as you can and as in much detail as possible, both for your education and your work experience. Include all the skills you've developed or any sort of awards that you've gotten because that helps improve your resume. Make sure that you list the places you worked and all the different certificates you hold. Otherwise, the AI's results won't really be complete. LinkedIn does, however, have a description field under each LinkedIn work and education experience. So once you've populated the sections in education and work experience on LinkedIn with your personal data, you'll come across a field in each section called description when you show down. So let me show you this. If you go to LinkedIn here and you scroll down to any one of these. So go to edit and then scroll down to, you're going to write the job description that you had, some information about it, where it took place, dates that you worked, and here's the description field. So this is what AI can help you actually fill out. So we're going to save this because I've already done it for this section. And what's great about it is you can go into more detail about your experience. It does have a word limit, so you're going to have to edit later on whatever AI gives you because it will be too long. So we're going to go back to Claude and we're going to paste in this prompt. All right. So first we're going to ask it about my educational qualifications, and then we're going to move on to work experience. Now it asks you some questions about your background in education, anything that contributed to your career path. These questions are going to be different depending on what field you're in, and the more tailored the description of each of your jobs and academic roles you can give it, the more sort of specific content you'll get back. This was my response. If you're done sort of giving it answers, I described where I went to school, the awards, notable experiences that I had, skills I developed. And what's really important is to give the most you can, but it kept asking me questions. So then I just asked it to stop and generate a response. Once it did this, you can take some of these and cut and paste them into your LinkedIn under education. You're going to want to go to out of experience and down here to education. So Dean's List, whatever sort of honors you've got, put them in here. If you've done some other studies or a certificate, put it below that. Put your most recent education at the top. And then you can go back into Claude because you're going to continue here, but where you're going to go is to work at each of your work experiences. And for each of these, it gave a little bit of information, But what you're probably going to want to do is go section by section. So if one of your sections is freelance writing, just copy and see if, and it generates all of this for this one work experience. So if it does in here have some questions for you, answer what you can and then ask it to regenerate. A lot of the times it'll want specific dates, what your primary responsibilities and key achievements were in that role, or any promotions awards that you got during your time there. So I've taken this and I've edited it back into my Word doc. And when I did that, I did the education and then I did skills. So I edited this down and I went back into my LinkedIn profile. And if we go back here to experience, you can drop in a little bit of a blurb about what you've done with each one. So that goes again under the description tab. And if you decide to edit it out later, you can change it right in there. So when you're asking for things, a lot of the time, ChatGPT and an AI writer will give you a lot of content. And you can only use a small section of it because there's a limit. And quite honestly, no one's going to want to read that much information on any resume. I found that it generated so much content that I even got good results without answering all the questions. So even if you don't have very much in a section on your resume, it's worth trying this and having AI help you out with it because it does generate a lot of content, as you can see. I've been using both ChatGPT and also Claude for this, and I keep referring it back to the same prompts. But you can switch between AI options, or you can use any chatbot or AI writer that you already have or that you're really comfortable using. So if you like Claude or Gemini or any sort of AI writer, you can use these same prompts and you're going to get a response. If you don't get responses that are complete enough, then try another prompt or a more detailed prompt or another tool and see if you don't get something different. I got something a little bit different today than I got before. So each of these things are really good to keep on a Word document so you can edit things later. For each work section you have, you need to go back through and enter it again because you can't do them all at once. So again, this one prompt, asking it to be a professional detective, is really useful because it gives the AI a specific role. Then you can have them extract all the necessary details from a compelling LinkedIn and ask it to focus on one specific work experience at a time. Now, I went through and did this with each one, and there was a couple, like I said, if you don't have very much on certain ones, so like this one I didn't have a lot of information on. It was just part-time. I did it only like 3 episodes. I just did a little bit of time as a co-host. And please, the same for, so I'm asking it to do the same for this work experience. It's like 4 lines of text, and a lot of it's repeating. I'll actually put a space here to make it a little bit easier. Okay. And this is the real body of it. Now you're going to maybe not want to say all of this stuff about yourself, but it says bringing energy to the network's programming, hosted different episodes, engaged with diverse artists. It might ask more questions for you to answer. I was the English language host, so that might be one of the questions they ask. But it gives you a list of skills that you can then put into your LinkedIn, and also kind of gives you an impact and a summary. Of course, this is way too long, but each of these things, especially skills, is really useful because LinkedIn has a section where after you go down to the description, you can add a skill here, interviewing, hosting, whatever it is. And since Claude has already given us a whole bunch of them. You can take any of those or none of them, but and add to your LinkedIn really quickly. So this is really where AI shines and can help you do things quite quickly. Now, this is my new LinkedIn profile. So if we go up here and go back, I've done it for all these sections. I didn't want to go through each one, of course, but it's much more detailed and clear than before. And I took out some of my older experiences. At this point, if you want to run your LinkedIn through Taplio's LinkedIn Profile Optimizer again for more ways for it to improve, all you have to do is go back to that same Taplio LinkedIn Profile Optimization. So if I take this and copy, go back to now, Taplio is showing me less suggestions here, and the revision you can see is much more detailed. So here, it's got a better headline. You can scroll through here. The About section is more detailed, and it's not giving me so many suggestions on how to improve, which is really nice. I'm happy with my results, but if you want to refine it further, you can take the suggestions from Taplio and you can keep revising. So additional tips, if you want to go into projects here and sort of expand on what you have, you can do that. So this wraps up using AI for the writing portion of your LinkedIn. But if you want to create a one-page resume to submit for jobs, you can download your updated LinkedIn resume from your LinkedIn page. So we're going to go and do that. And first, you're going to want to log into your LinkedIn profile and then click on the Me icon at the top of the page. So I want to go back here and this is the Me. I was already on my page, but this is the Me icon. You're going to pull up your account. Now you're going to want to select View Profile, and under your new headline, which is right here, you're going to have 3 tabs: Open to, Add Profile Sections, and More. You want to click More and then go to Save PDF. And this will download it and you can open up your file. So this summarizes everything. You can put your own contact information on here if you'd like to. And you can use this resume with all of your sections updated. Or if you want a different layout, you can now take this and upload it to a resume writer like hiresnap.com or enhancedcv.com. There are honestly so many resume writers out there to choose from. And a chatbot can also be used and prompted to write a resume. But for simplicity, I would look for a tool with some good template options. You can find free or paid options. HireSnap and Enhanced CV both have a free version, but you do have to create an account for both of them. And their paid versions unlock more tools. So we're going to go to HireSnap first, and this is what it looks like. So we're going to go to HireSnap, and you can see what it looks like. I've uploaded some of my information here as an example. So this is the website. You want to go to Resume Build. You can create a new resume or upload your own. And here, if you're going to upload, no thanks. So there we go. This, I've started to populate each section. I think it's now saying that the upload is going to be a higher tier, so you have to pay for that. I'm using these just as a free option, and you can go through the different templates here. They're kind of neat because you can move the sections around for work experience and things like that. You can also customize the color. So under design here, you can go to a green, any of these sort of colors down here. That's a bit bright. But they've got all these templates that are free that you can download. And then you just change in the numbers and emails, education. So this is one that I was populating myself, so it isn't finished. And then it actually gives you a score, which is kind of nice. And I think it does it for the entire for the entire resume, but this isn't very well populated yet, so I'm getting a lower score. And it'll go through each of the things: summary, work experience, so you can add stuff and increase your score. So that's sort of what HireSnap is. Once you've got something that you like, you can download for free, but their higher tiers obviously are going to give you more options. Now, the other one that you can go to is going to be enhancecv.com. And this is nice because if you go to create new resume, you can start with an industry sample, or you can upload an existing resume that you have, or import your LinkedIn profile. I tried both of these, and what's interesting is they turn out to be a different format, but I really liked uploading. So I went and I uploaded that most recent one that I downloaded from LinkedIn, and it's already in there. So this is what it ended up looking like. Now, you've got sections here that you can move around by just clicking, which is a really nice tool. You can put different things like languages, skills, stuff like that. So all of these options are free. What it doesn't do is give you a ton of other options. And these bots really do like to sort of give you suggestions. Now, they really focus on productivity and percents and things like that, which may or may not be relevant to your industry. Changing the colors on this one is a paid option, so it depends how much those options mean to you. If you want to brand it in your colors, you're going to have to pay them a little bit more. And this site really does try to get you to upgrade. Again, I think they have some decent templates that are free, but if you like some of their more fancy ones, you are going to have to pay for a subscription. Those are the two CV resume sort of builders that we're going to go over today. As you've seen, AI can make these tasks a lot easier and quicker, but it still needs a human to direct it. And you still need to edit everything and put it all together. So we're definitely not at the place where AI is taking over. Even though AI tools can't do all of this for you, they're really helpful in generating content and ideas to help you break free from blocks, especially when you're not sure what to type, and enhance your resume and profile quickly. And these sort of like profile templates for your resume are so much faster than making one in Canva. Hopefully this has been kind of fun for you and has shown you that optimizing your LinkedIn profile doesn't have to be such a tedious chore. In the next episode, I'm going to continue optimizing LinkedIn pages with the last two steps: the headshot photo and the customized banner. Thanks for watching and checking out how to use AI tools on your LinkedIn.